Hello everybody, this is Wendy Lovejoy and I am the founder of the RIA Meetup. Okay, so hoping you guys are joining me and you are seeing the video for tonight. I am live to share with you just some things about real estate investing and understanding personality types. One of the things that you want to make sure is that you're investing a lot of money to get started as a real estate investor. Feel free to say hi to me. If I can see your notes, I'll wave back. But one of the things that happens is that you invest money and time into becoming a real estate investor, and you're also putting out whatever marketing tools that you are using. Hey there, Saul. Whatever marketing tools that you're using, whatever apps, whatever, MLS, all that kind of stuff. And you are getting people to call you, you're getting appointments, you're getting on the phone with people. And one of the things that helped me quite a lot, and I've taught this to my children, is to how to pay attention to people's personality types. Because when you're speaking to people, they will tell you what is the best way to speak back to them. That is so important. You don't want to lose a deal because, as you're collecting information, you're not aware of the personality type that you're dealing with. And it has helped me quite a bit. This one thing that I'm teaching you tonight actually helped my daughter to become the top collections collector in Atlanta, Georgia for more than 10 years. It was very hard for people to beat her record. She's no longer in collections, but now she does taxes. She's also in real estate. And she says this is one of the major things that I taught her that helped her. And this and mirror matching. So when you understand your own personality type, then you will see that you're not to speak to everybody else just in your personality type. So for example, I'm a visual. So a visual is somebody that sees everything. So they use words like clear, we use our hands a lot, we're kind of hyper, we've got a lot of things going on at the same time. So, but everybody is not like me. Everybody is not like you. And let's say that, somebody that's watching tonight, you may be what we call a kinesthetic person, and a kinesthetic person is more of an emotional type of a person. So if you talk to everybody like from a point of emotions, you're going to lose the visual. So one of the things I want to do first is to get you to see where you see yourself in anything that I am saying today. Where you see yourself in anything that I'm saying today. And then you want to start adding people on your team that fit in the parts that you are not. As a visual, we're not always organized, but here's the thing, most of your successful people, most of your top producers are usually visual. So I'm going to share with you again some of the personality types, and that is because there were a couple of people that asked me to talk about this. If you're in the Yellow Letter Mentoring program, then I teach more extensively in that group. But the 4 personality or the 3 personality types, I want you to write them down. The first and the most popular, the one you hear the most, is a visual person, as I mentioned. And the thing about visuals, like one of my sons is very visual. I have to say all 3 of my kids are definitely these 3 different personalities. The visual person is very competitive, extremely competitive. They have high energy. They sometimes rub other people the wrong way because they're to the point. They don't have time to waste. They want to get things done. And they get bored very, very quickly. They're good at sales. They're really good at sales. They're go-getters. They're also very ambitious. They're proactive. And they set goals. They like to push the limit. They are high achievers and they like to knock out their deadlines. So, again, visual people. And when you're speaking to a motivated seller, you want to know what their personality type is so that you can speak to them in their words. And so a visual person will use words like, I see what you're saying. That's very clear to me. And they describe it in like visual words. So you want to pay attention to that. Okay, so that's a visual. Most people are visuals. There's more people that are visual, especially top producers. The other personality type are people that are considered auditory. And an auditory person is somebody, you can also see them in their body language because they usually sit like this. They usually have one ear leaning forward because if it doesn't sound right to them, they're not going to keep moving. And the thing about an auditory person, you have to give them details. It has to make sense to them in their ear. They have to hear it. And they'll use words like, that doesn't sound right to me, or that sounds really good. I hear what you're saying. So an auditory person is usually technical. They're usually very analytical, and they'll ask you for details. And if they don't get details, they'll get annoyed. And so you don't want to get upset at an auditory person. You want to make sure that you have the details that they need. They want to know the numbers. They want to know, they'll ask you things about your experience. They're looking to hear clearly that what you're telling them makes sense. And with an auditory person, I find when you speak to them, if you use similar words back to them, because that is the thing again, when you understand how a person speaks, they're telling you how to sell them, how to handle their objection, how to make them feel comfortable, and so that they can move forward with you. So with an auditory person, you want to practice using words like, when you finish asking them all your questions or you're about to give them your offer, you want to say something like, that sounds great to me. Or, I hear what you're saying, so I put all the information together. Here are your details. Practice doing this because, again, people think this is not important, but as I said, this helped my daughter become the #1 collections person in Atlanta, Georgia, 10 years straight, because she knew how to mirror match people and to hear their dialogue on the phone. And these are things that help me close people and gets me to get more contracts signed, because sellers feel more comfortable, but it's also because I understand myself and the different people on my team. And then there's the kinesthetic person. The kinesthetic person is the emotional person. The emotional person. They usually, make decisions from an emotional point of view. And they'll use words like, I don't know if I'm feeling that. That doesn't feel good to me. They use very feeling words. And so, again, you want to make sure you understand that, because these people are going to be the people you're dealing with, especially as the pandemic starts exiting. There'll be more and more people that you're dealing with emotional people, because so much is going on, and you want to make sure that you read them correctly. They're usually a little bit more, when you speak to them, they like to be touched. and you touch them on certain parts, like on their shoulder, their hand. Now that we're doing things very visually, like you're going to be talking to more people on the phone, you're going to be texting more people as they're coming at you to do deals with you, then you want to make sure with these people that you're able to pay attention to what they're saying to you so you can feel them out. And then no matter what you're doing, you tailor your presentation to speak to them in their own words. And so one of the things I'm going to be doing in tomorrow's training for the Yellow Letter Mentoring group is I'm going to be sharing with you the same script 3 different ways, because I want you to get this. It is so, so important. So basically, those are the 3 personality types. And then you want to pay attention to the 5 money personalities. There's some people that are more, not as, they're not willing to break the rules when it comes to how they spend their money. They're not willing to the numbers have to be so precise or they're not going to move. But before I confuse you, I just really want you to master the 3 personality types and then figure out what is dominantly your personality, because some people are visual, but then they have a little bit of kinesthetic, which is emotional under the visual, or they're visual and then they have a little bit of auditory. And again, most of the people you're going to be dealing with are going to be visual people. And for me, I practiced this a lot as I was raising my kids, because each one has a different personality type. And one of the easiest ways to practice this is to just deal with one personality. This is what I did. I would look everywhere and say, oh, okay, every time I found a visual person, then I would say, oh, okay, that's a visual person. And visual people usually are more, they dress more flashy, more flamboyant. They're very, very center of the party, or like I said, high achievers, and they usually, have too much going on. But as I also mentioned, because of their dominant personality, we can sometimes rub people the wrong way. However, when they get to know you, then they say, oh, okay, this person is not what I thought. And then with a person who's auditory, they're not going to be the center of the party. They usually like to be in the corner somewhere. These people don't like their routines messed up. They don't like when you come and try to get them to move outside of the box. They like their routines. They don't want to take risks when it comes to how they deal with their real estate and their finances and their life. And they believe in being very solid. They're concerned about their future. They don't like a lot of debt, so they're not going to take a risk. It's going to have to make real solid sense to them when you are focusing on, trying to do a deal with them. And then again, these people usually wear very solid, bland colors like blacks and grays and, colors like that. They don't want to stand out. They don't want to mess the status quo. They want to fall right in. And then the kinesthetic people, they're emotional. They're kind of like, they sometimes want to be center stage. They're more like the fun-loving people, but they're very sensitive. And you have to use those kind of words with them too. You have to show them that you care before you give them details and before you start selling them on what it is that you are feeling they need to know about the sale of the property. You have to let them know that you care before, again, you give them the details. So what I want you to do is this week, just see how many people you can say, okay, this is a visual, or this is a kinesthetic, or this is an auditory person. But figure out who you are, and then look at your team, because the best teams has every personality on it. And once you figure out every personality and making sure they're on your team, then you want to make sure that they're doing the part on the team that is going to help the whole team grow. A visual person is not usually very organized all the time, so they need somebody else who's going to come and do the administrative work. That's usually more of an auditory person, because they believe in having things in order and organized and simplistic and no debt and all that kind of stuff. And then again, the kinesthetic person is usually not very organized, because they're focused on their emotions. So if you focus on learning those 3 personality types, I just wanted to give you those 3 nuggets tonight so that you can write them down. And as I said, the visual dresses very more flamboyant. They believe in, some of them will focus on having labels. They want to show that they've achieved. They have the nicer cars, the nicer jewelry. If they have a bag, it's going to be like a big Louis Vuitton and not the smallest one. They're just very, very like in your face, like, look at me, I got this done. Can't you see I'm successful? And then the auditory is going to be very bland. And if you ever, I was amazed when I was in multi-level marketing that when I would have my weekly meetings, I could literally tell everybody that was auditory because they'd all stand up, and when they stood up, they were basically all wearing grays and blacks and browns and very dark colors to just blend in. And then the kinesthetic were usually more of the yellows and the things of that, because they're fun-loving. They want people to see them as nice and kind of easier. And so again, if you practice this, believe it or not, it is going to help you to close more deals, because no matter what, people still want to talk to people. And even when they're texting, because here's the thing we're selling. We're not selling the house, and we can't sell the deal until we get the people. We're in people sales. We're in the people industry. So in the people industry, you have to learn to understand people. And more than anything, you have to understand yourself and which personality type you are, and then surround yourself with the personalities that you're lacking. But you also want to make sure that the people are all willing to do their share to help your business grow. So if you're in the Yellow Letter Mentoring group, I'm going to go over more of this with you tomorrow. But for the RIA meetup, I just wanted to share these details, and hopefully they help you as you go through your week, as you make your phone calls, whether you're texting or people are responding to you through even Clubhouse. You definitely want to make sure that can read people even faster. When you get to the point where a person can have 2 sentences with you and you know their personality type, you're going to be able to close more deals, or to connect them with the right person on your team to get the deals done. So with that being said, this is Wendy Lovejoy, and I hope this was helpful to you. And again, if you're in the Yellow Letter Mentoring program and you're enrolled in the program, then tomorrow we will go over this a little bit more, and I will really delve into the money personality type so that you can see how people make their decisions when you're presenting your offer to them. Have a good night, everybody. And thank you for staying for the whole time, Saul. I appreciate you, and I hope this helped you. Bye.